I've been trying to get Claire's attention for 4 years, but she has always looked down on me. Tonight was no different. I ran through a heavy downpour just to bring her an umbrella, a simple gesture. On the way, however, I was cornered in a dark alley by a group of men. I saw her standing at the entrance, just watching from the street. I cried out for help, yelling until my voice was raw, but she didn't move, not 1 inch. She just stood there as they beat me. After they were gone, she finally walked up to me. I was collapsed in the mud and dirt, and she looked down from above, completely unmoved. "I just wanted to see how low one of you candidates could actually stoop," she said, her voice casual. "Stand up now, Liam. Tell me you love me, and I'll finally agree to be with you." I just laughed. It was a hoarse, broken sound. In my mind, I was already contacting my handler, screaming one thought: "I want to switch my assignment." My hoarse voice echoed in the pouring rain. I knew Claire was at the mouth of the alley. She could hear me crying out, but she didn't respond at all. I lay there, disheveled in the mud, still clutching the black umbrella I had brought for her. Vaguely, I heard the click of footsteps and saw those familiar white high heels stop in front of me. She looked down at me, laughing, as if everything I had just gone through was a joke to her. There was no pity at all. "Well, Liam," she said from her high ground, "didn't you love me so much? Now I'm right here. Why aren't you jumping up like an obedient dog, wagging your tail?" My fingers twitched. The black umbrella wobbled in my hand. Claire saw it and scoffed. "Is that umbrella for me? Too bad. I think it's dirty now." I opened my mouth, but my throat was raw, probably from screaming so much earlier. Hoarsely, I asked, "Why? Why do you treat me like this?" Claire sneered, as if the answer was obvious. She said casually, "Because you're a candidate. It's what you are." "So a candidate deserves to be trampled on?" I asked, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the rain. "Yep," Claire replied coldly. The first time I met her, she had somehow seen right through my cover and identified me as part of the program. But I never expected her to hate me this much for it. I had done nothing wrong to her, only been unconditionally kind. I hadn't interfered in her love life. She didn't even like anyone else. I had no clue what I'd done to make her despise me to this level, to watch me get humiliated and not care at all. "Don't you deserve it?" Claire's tone was ice cold. "I just wanted to see how low a so-called candidate could stoop." I laughed, tears streaming down my face, mixing with the rain. "Claire, candidates are people too. We have our dignity." I tried to stay calm. "Dignity?" Claire laughed like she'd heard the funniest joke ever. "Liam, stand up now. Stand and say you love me, and I'll be with you." Her lofty attitude made it clear she wanted to crush my dignity into the ground. I shifted my body, using every bit of strength to rise from the mud. I was wounded all over, completely embarrassed. Claire watched, unmistakable contempt in her eyes, assuming I'd give up my pride just to complete my assignment. I finally stood upright. "Claire, it's over," I said, before slapping her hard across the face. I put everything I had into that slap, but honestly, it probably didn't hurt. I didn't have the strength to kill a fly right now. Claire was surprised. She couldn't believe I'd actually slapped her. Anger blazed in her eyes as she pushed me back into the mud pit. I fell hard, choking on rain and mud. "Liam, you've lost it!" Claire shouted angrily. "I'm not crazy. I just see clearly now," I said. "I should have switched assignments when my handler mentioned it. I was foolish to think I could win you over. Claire, like you wished, I'll never bother you again." Claire laughed, unbothered. "Liam, if you can't win me over, you'll be eliminated. Do you want to die?" Was she just taking advantage of that? "But Claire, the program isn't that heartless. Each candidate gets 2 chances to switch assignments. You're not the only one." "Kneel and apologize. Claire offered mercifully. I'll forgive you. I ignored it. Honestly, I could barely hear her. After a night of mental and physical torment, I was drained. My consciousness was slipping, everything blurring around me. I felt like I'd die before the program even eliminated me, until I opened my eyes in a hospital. IV lines ran into my arm, but I was alone in the room. Candidate, are you awake? My handler's voice asked cautiously in my mind. My whole body ached, burning up with fever. After I passed out last night, did Claire bring me here? You said you could switch assignments once, I interrupted, ignoring his question. Yes, the handler answered. Do you want to switch assignments? Yes, I'm sure. I cut him off. You might want to reconsider. Claire seemed different last night when she brought you in. No. My voice was firm. I want to switch. My handler kept trying, but last night, seeing it was all orchestrated by Claire, made me more determined. She deliberately had me bring her an umbrella just to humiliate me. I don't know why she dislikes me so much, but I'm not going through that again. Next time, I might not be so lucky. You don't have to say anything, I told him. I've made up my mind. If I fail this time after changing, I'll accept the punishment. The handler sighed. Since you're so insistent on this, I have to respect your wishes. This time the assignment is Sophie. Who? I thought I'd misheard. Sophie, 24, Claire's cousin. She is tougher than Claire, the handler reminded me. I was speechless. I don't know Sophie well, but everyone in Beijing knows about my pursuit of Claire, and Sophie, as Claire's cousin, is fully aware. That's why I suggested not changing, the handler said helplessly. Is it too late to change my mind? No. But I'm not changing my mind, I said firmly. If it doesn't work with Claire, why not go for someone new? Plus, Sophie's got that cold vibe, but she's damn pretty. Not a bad trade-off. Could be a memorable fling before the end. I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. Claire never showed up. No expectations there anymore. After getting out, I heard from my handler that Sophie was having a birthday party at JS Club. There was no way I was missing a chance like this. I put on a snazzy suit, got a nice birthday cake, and headed to the VIP lounge. The place was buzzing when I arrived. Lots of young people were there. And right in the center was Sophie. There were guys surrounding her, but nobody was getting too close. My arrival made the room go quiet for a few seconds. Then a teasing voice broke the silence. Claire, your loyal dog is here. That's when I noticed Claire was in the crowd, too. It's funny how some people become invisible once they're no longer important. But I figured Claire would be at Sophie's birthday party. Whether she was here or not didn't matter. I didn't even care about the rude nickname her friends gave me. It wasn't their fault. Claire's attitude gave them free rein to mock me. Claire, how'd you get a guy wrapped around your finger like that? Give us some tips. We want one too, someone called out among the crude chatter. Claire came up, her face twisted with anger, yelling, Liam, get lost. Isn't this over? Why'd you dress up like this? Pathetic! She thought I was dressed for her today. I just gave a cold smile and walked past her, heading straight to Sophie. Everyone was shocked by my behavior. Back in the day, I was a doormat for Claire. If she said east, I wouldn't dare go west. I never took my eyes off her. But now, I was the focus of attention. Sophie looked at me, amused. I handed her the cake, saying, Sophie, I picked this out myself. Happy birthday. Sophie raised an eyebrow, glanced me over, and then at the cake. Before she could react, Claire grabbed my arm so hard I almost fell. The cake wobbled on the edge of tumbling. Liam, what game are you playing? Do you think I'll get jealous? She yelled, her eyes blazing with fury. You're just making yourself look pathetic. Let go of me. I shook off her hand. Claire's eyes widened, shocked I'd stand up to her. Claire, we're done, I said slowly. I'm going after Sophie now. The room was buzzing. Nobody thought I'd ever move on from Claire. Liam, Claire warned, not believing me, her voice filled with disdain. She assumed I was trying to get her attention. I said we're done. I like Sophie now. I'm going after her, I repeated, my tone impatient. Please step aside. Liam, this is your last chance. If you keep this up, you're signing your own death warrant, Claire threatened. Meaning if I didn't obey, she'd make sure I fail my assignment and face the program's punishment. I laughed. Not because of indifference to the threat, but because even if I did follow orders, she'd never let me succeed. She doesn't like me. She despises me. Don't block the way, I said firmly, my gaze icy as I looked at her. Claire's pupil suddenly changed. She still couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe I'd say something so disrespectful to her. I saw her fists clench. If it wasn't for all the people around, she might have punched me dead. She said harshly, Liam, I've given you chances, and you didn't cherish them. Even if you beg me on your knees, I won't look at you. I remained indifferent. Claire gritted her teeth and stormed off. My mind wasn't on Claire. I looked at Sophie. She was as steady as ever, without any hint of emotion over my drama with Claire. She watched me with interest. You heard me talking to Claire just now. I don't like her anymore. I like you. I want to pursue you. I wasn't beating around the bush. Just a year. It'll fly by. Maybe it was just my not caring mindset, but I've got to go through the motions. I know that trying doesn't guarantee success, but not trying ensures failure. I don't want to die with regrets. Reason? Sophie's cool voice asked with just one word, as her red lips moved slightly. You're prettier than Claire. Sophie laughed, but her smile felt cold, like she wasn't amused at all. She said, I've been prettier than her for more than just a day or two. I was stunned for a moment. Talk about being clear-headed. I chased Claire for 4 years with nothing to show for it, I added. Sophie laughed again. What makes you think I'd pick up your leftovers? I pressed my lips together. The handler was right. Sophie was way tougher to deal with than Claire. Otherwise, the men around her would have succeeded by now. I never slept with Claire, I stated. Sophie's eyes shifted. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself, I said sincerely. Sophie was obviously taken aback, her face turning red. Friends around her teased, Liam is quite bold. Was he just pretending to be Claire's obedient pup? Sophie, Liam is making a move. Why not give it a shot? The room filled with laughter, mocking me. I was used to ridicule from my days chasing Claire. Now I just waited for Sophie's response. Before she could reply, Claire appeared again. She was here for Sophie's birthday and wouldn't leave over a few words. Sitting far from me, her sudden return puzzled me. She grabbed my hand and snapped, Liam, stop embarrassing yourself here. It's disgusting. She tried dragging me away. I resisted but couldn't shake free. Before Claire pulled me out, I hurriedly placed the cake on the table in front of Sophie, saying hastily, Sophie, happy birthday. It's ice cream flavored. Eat it before it melts. Dragged by Claire, I reached the door. Claire opened it angrily, but it slammed shut hard. I looked up to see Sophie standing between Claire and me. Claire's eyes were bloodshot with fury. Sophie, what are you doing? This is my birthday party. Compared to Claire's anger, Sophie was calm, her tone indifferent, as if she wasn't bothered. He's here for me, Sophie said, glancing at me with a slight smile. Whether he leaves or not isn't your call. You know why he's here, Claire fumed. For what reason? Sophie asked intentionally. He's here to impress you, but he just wants to get my attention. He can't really like you, Claire insisted. Sophie turned to me. Is that true? No, I denied, firm. I don't like Claire anymore. It's her imagination. Sophie, satisfied with my answer, smiled. Did you hear? He says you're imagining things. Claire flushed red with anger. It was like I gave her an invisible slap, sharp and loud. Her grip on my wrist tightened, causing pain. I couldn't tell if she was holding back her emotions or retaliating against me. I struggled more but couldn't break free. Let's do this, Sophie suggested calmly. Let Liam choose. If he wants to go with you, I won't stop him. But if he doesn't, then back off. Claire's face was livid. In this town, no one dared to challenge Sophie seriously. Even though their families were connected through Claire's mom and Sophie's dad being siblings, Claire's family didn't have a say in front of Sophie's. Not to mention, Sophie was rumored to be heartless. Claire coldly told me, Liam, I've given you plenty of chances. Don't push your luck. I pressed my lips and looked to Sophie. Her expression remained indifferent. She asked, Liam, are you going with Claire? No, I answered without hesitation. I'm going with you. As soon as I spoke, Claire's grip on my arm tightened as if trying to crush it. I couldn't help but cry out in pain. Let me go! Sophie's eyes narrowed slightly. She sternly told Claire, Let him go. Claire did not loosen her grip. I'll count to 3. Sophie's voice was calm, yet chilling. 1, 2. Claire let go. Liam, you're bringing this on yourself. Claire was all fired up. Claire will never go easy on you again. Again? That's funny. When have you ever gone easy on me? No need, I replied firmly. I'd already shifted my attention to Sophie. She didn't care about Claire's anger and said, If you're coming with me, then let's go. She opened the room's door and headed out first. I was surprised. So many people came to celebrate Sophie's birthday, and she just up and left? Not wasting any time, I followed her right away. As I did, I felt like Claire reached out to grab me, or maybe it was just my imagination. In the end, I successfully got into Sophie's supercar with her. She was driving. Fast. I had no idea if she'd drank or not. I didn't smell any booze on her when I got close. But sitting in the passenger seat had me all tense. I was terrified we'd crash and burn any second. I was trembling, too afraid to even ask where we were headed. She kept driving to more deserted areas, eventually going up a mountain. Finally, we reached the top. Sophie stopped. The car. She didn't get out but opened the sunroof and lit a cigarette. Still scared, I carefully asked, What are we doing here? Didn't you say you like me? She taunted, exhaling smoke. Wouldn't you need to prove it? I froze. Prove it? Like, in the car? Or... I glanced at the dark trees nearby, thinking how twisted she was. Sophie suddenly laughed. This time it seemed genuine. She laughed for a while. I was just dumbfounded. Liam, you're dreaming, she said. Then she opened the car door and got out. I watched her under the sparse, dim streetlights on the mountain. The night was nice, with lots of stars, almost romantic. Just as I was lost in thought, the crazy loud sound of car engines echoed nearby. Next thing I know, 10 or so supercars parked beside Sophie's. What's all this about? A bunch of stylish young people got out, chatting with Sophie. She came back to me and said, Tonight we're racing. A friend's boyfriend is pretty good. If you win for me, maybe I'll believe you really like me. You want me to risk my life to prove it? I looked at Sophie, speechless. Even my handler whispered sarcastically in my ear, Told you Sophie's harder to handle than Claire. She's got serious issues. I don't mind if you don't, Sophie shrugged and turned to leave. Okay, I agreed. Sophie paused in surprise. Then she chuckled a bit, not really expecting much from me. All I can do is wish you luck, candidate, my handler sighed in my ear. I slid into the driver's seat. The guy in the other car looked confident, flipping me off. I stayed calm, held my breath. After a loud whistle, his sports car darted ahead, putting distance between us. I quickly hit the gas to catch up, heart pounding wildly. I'd never driven this fast before, felt like I might just take off. Candidate, you can't even see his taillights, my handler warned. I gritted my teeth, pushed the pedal harder. Candidate, there's a sharp turn ahead. I didn't slow down. I nearly got flung out at that turn. Candidate, you're at 180, beyond your limits, my handler cautioned. I kept increasing pressure on the pedal. He's 50 meters ahead. Candidate, you're at 220. Candidate, you caught up. Now you're doing 280. Candidate, you've passed him. Approaching the finish line. Candidate, you reached the finish first. Time to stop. You're at 310. Candidate. Candidate, sharp turn ahead. You can't make it. Stop now. Stop! My handler was yelling in my ear. I saw the turn coming. I knew I had to stop, but I was all over the place. I watched helplessly as the car hurtled toward the curve. Echoing in the open sky were wild, screeching brakes, followed by the crunch of metal on metal. The car hit the side railings. My forehead slammed into the steering wheel, but I stopped it, just in time, inches from flying off the cliff. My handler had probably been scared out of his wits, silent for a good while. I was dizzy from the blow. I heard banging on the car. Door! A voice yelling furiously. Liam, are you insane? Open up! Open up! I managed to open the car door. Sophie looked at me, her eyes red, probably from nerves. Are you alive? She asked. I smiled at her, but blood trickled down my forehead. I said, I won, Sophie. Idiot, she cursed, kneeling to undo my seatbelt, pulling me out. I was getting dizzier, but before blacking out, I mustered up the strength to say, Sophie, you better keep your word. When I woke up again, I was back in the hospital. I tried to move. Don't move, came a strict voice. The doctor said you have a concussion. I turned and saw Sophie. I was a bit surprised she was here. Are you brain dead from the crash? Sophie had her brows furrowed, eyes locked on me. Then I remembered last night. I went racing with Sophie. We crashed. No, I'm awake, I said quickly, recalling her words. You said if I won, you'd believe I liked you. Sophie kept her lips pursed, saying nothing. You wouldn't go back on your word, would you? I asked nervously. I risked my life for this. I didn't actually think I'd win. It was just a belief while driving. If I couldn't win Sophie over, it was like a dead end anyway. Might as well give it everything I had. I ended up winning the bet. She better not renege. Liam, Sophie suddenly called my name seriously. Do you like Claire? I like you now. If you really like Claire, I can help. Sophie acted like she didn't understand, thinking of last night as my reward. Sophie, how many times do I have to say I don't like Claire now? I like you! I was seriously frustrated. Are both sisters insane? Not listening to a word? When I said I didn't like Claire, she wouldn't believe it. When I said I liked Sophie, she wouldn't believe it either. It's maddening. Your feelings for Claire are well known. But everyone knows I couldn't win Claire over. I looked at Sophie. So I gave up and started liking you. Changing your heart so fast? Sophie said coldly, clearly still doubting me. Sophie, I'm just asking if what you said last night stands. I didn't want to argue anymore. It does need time to prove. Sophie was silent for a while, thinking and hesitating. Then she slowly replied, Yes. I was thrilled, excitedly asking, Can we date now? Liam, you're overthinking. Sophie gave a cold smile. I only said I believe you like me. I never said I'd date you. After all, there are so many guys who like me. How could I date them all? Just lie there. I'll pick you up after discharge." Sophie left after saying that. My handler popped up excitedly. "Candidate, I sense potential here." "Potential for what?" I mumbled. I thought victory was near. Who knew Sophie would be like this? "Sophie stayed with you all night at the hospital. By your side, all along. She even got the best doctors to check on you, afraid of something happening." "Isn't it possible she was just worried about the trouble I'd cause if I died?" I asked. "True, that could be it," the handler agreed. "But overall, it's a good sign," he encouraged. I perked up, thinking it might be. Claire never gave me a chance to get close, but Sophie at least gave me the chance to prove myself, even if it nearly cost me my life. Thinking it over, neither sister seems like a good person. Evening. Sophie came to pick me up from the hospital. I thought she was just saying it casually, but she really came. She dropped me at my apartment's gate. "Thanks," I said with gratitude. Sophie stayed indifferent. "Can I come see you often?" I asked her. "Do whatever you want." I hid my happiness. "Can I get your contact info?" Sophie impatiently took out her phone and opened a QR code. I added her immediately, satisfied as I got out of the car. "Take care on your way," I waved with a smile. Sophie drove away without looking back. I turned to head home. "Liam!" At the gate, Claire emerged from the shadows. I frowned at her. I never thought Claire would look for me. Once I waited at her house without food or water for a whole day and night. She was home. Knew I was there, but never let me in. I pretended not to see her. Walked right past. "Liam!" Claire gritted her teeth, grabbing my arm. "Claire, let go or I'll call the cops." "Enough of this drama!" Rachel yelled. "I heard you raced with Sophie yesterday. You know she's nuts. She doesn't care about lives. Even if she killed someone, her family can handle it." "That's my business. Let go." I shoved Claire away. She stumbled back, getting more agitated. "Liam, stop this nonsense! No, you stop!" I shouted back. "I don't like you anymore. Stop haunting me." "Haunting me?" Claire laughed. She spat out, "Liam, do you even know who you are?" "My identity? What? Did you forget? You're a candidate. Or are you just planning to wait for elimination?" Claire sneered. "Yeah, I'm just waiting for elimination." I was all in. Didn't want to bother with Claire anymore. "Since I can't win you over, why not live happily? What's wrong with wanting to experience love before dying?" "You're shameless," Claire fumed. "If I'm dying, why care about shame?" I smirked. "I just want to be happy now." "Liam." Claire trembled with anger. I couldn't fathom why she was so mad. Shouldn't she be happy? I'm finally not bothering her anymore. "You think you can really win over Sophie?" Claire took a deep breath, saying harshly, "I'll tell you. Sophie has liked someone forever. They grew up together, childhood sweethearts. He went abroad a few years ago, and Sophie's been waiting. She won't ever like you." I was taken aback for a moment. This was the first time I'd heard that Sophie liked someone. No wonder she's been single all these years. "Someone like you, Sophie wouldn't even look twice at," Claire said, glaring at me. "I wasn't trying to get Sophie to like me anyway. Just some lonely people having fun," I said nonchalantly. "Liam, how can you be so shameless?" "Then stay away from me. I don't want to see you anymore. You're an eyesore." I pronounced each word coldly. "You—" Claire was fuming at my words. She gritted her teeth. "Liam, I'm giving you a chance. Just admit you're wrong. Promise never to have anything to do with Sophie again, and I might reluctantly forgive you and let you stay by my side." "Claire, your ego is too big." "Forgive me? How do you have the nerve to say that?" I sarcastically replied. There's no need for that. It's better we stay out of each other's lives. You'll regret this. Never, I said, leaving Claire red-faced. She didn't see any sign of weakness from me, felt indignant, and turned to leave. She threw a final threat back at me. Liam, you better not come crawling back. I watched Claire's back indifferently, a little lost in thought. Not because Claire affected my mood, but because changing my focus meant I was completely over her, with no feelings left. I was more occupied with the thought that Sophie had someone she liked. It's true, it was a bit disappointing. If you're alive, who really wants to give up? At that moment, my handler's voice startled me from my thoughts. I think Claire's developed feelings for you. Isn't that just women's nature? What you can't have is always the best, I mocked. Not now. From that night, the voice explained. The night you were found unconscious at the alley entrance, Claire actually stayed by your side in the hospital the whole night. She only left just before you woke up. I suppose she didn't want you to know she cared. Why would she be afraid? I asked. It made no sense. She probably just doesn't want to like you, I said confidently. There's a world of difference between not wanting to like me at all and trying, but not succeeding. The former is the deal breaker. In retrospect, I should have realized it sooner, but maybe there's not much to regret. After that day, I stayed cooped up at home for days, didn't even bother reaching out to Sophie. My handler said I was on a path of self-destruction. What could I do? Sophie liked someone else, and I didn't even know if it was mutual. If it was, then I'd be the third wheel. I don't like the idea of being the other guy. Surprisingly, a month later, Sophie messaged me. Are you dead? That girl, her words could be sharper than Claire's. Alive and kicking, I replied, sending her a picture of me showing off at the gym. So that's how you say you like me? I was just afraid of bothering you. Want to go out to sea? Today? Forget it. I'll be right there. Where are you? Downstairs. So she was already waiting at my complex's gate? I felt a surge of excitement. Seize the opportunity, candidate, my handler reminded me. I quickly changed clothes, fixed my hair a bit, and headed out. By the time I got to the gate, 20 minutes had passed. I spotted Sophie leaning impatiently against her sports car from a distance. People walking by couldn't help but take a second. Look at her. Cool car, even cooler person. Impossible not to be captivated. I jogged over, about to speak. You had the nerve to keep me waiting this long? Liam, you really are something, Sophie said, not in a good mood. I wanted to look good to see you. I feigned grievance. Sophie glanced over my attire, stayed silent, and got into the car. I quickly took the passenger seat. Inside was a bit too quiet enough to feel awkward. I tried starting a conversation. Why go out to sea today? Do I need a reason to want to go? Not the easiest person to talk to. I chose to stay silent. We soon reached the harbor. I joined Sophie on the yacht. The large yacht was full of young people. I didn't expect Sophie to be out with me alone. Seeing Claire on the yacht made me uneasy. Claire grinned wickedly when she saw me. I wasn't sure why. My gut told me something was off. Sure enough, I soon met a man. Smiling pleasantly, but obviously not friendly. His eyes scanned over me several times before settling on Sophie. Polite, he asked, Sophie, is this your boyfriend? Not yet, Sophie said, with a touch of flirtation in her voice. I instantly realized this man must be the one Claire mentioned, someone Sophie liked for years before he went abroad. So now he's back. No wonder Claire's smile was so devious. This was intended to embarrass me. I'm pursuing Sophie, but I haven't succeeded yet, I said openly. Is that so? The man smiled. Sophie is a high mountain flower, Not easy to pursue. Well, are you pursuing her too? I asked. Me? He hesitated. We're just friends. Long-time friends. Sophie sneered a bit at his words, taking my hand and pulling me to the side. We stood on the yacht's deck. Sophie smoked quietly. I said nothing beside her. There's something between Sophie and that man, my handler chimed in. Obviously, I rolled my eyes. Any fool could see that. I pursed my lips and gathered the courage to ask, Sophie, do you like that guy? Sophie puffed on her cigarette. She turned to look at me. Don't dig where you shouldn't, she said. I just want to know, can I keep chasing you? Sophie put out her half-smoked cigarette and casually said, Do what you like, and don't worry about others. So, does this mean I can keep chasing her? I might end up being ignored, maybe used, but it's better to try than do nothing. Worst-case scenario, if I help make a couple happy before I go, it's a good deed. I smiled charmingly at Sophie. I'll work hard to make you like me, and forget the bad times he brought you. Sophie laughed dismissively, mocking my overconfidence. But I'm thick-skinned and don't mind being laughed at. I tagged along with Sophie, enjoying life on the yacht. If nothing else, I got a taste of the rich life before I kick the bucket. Suddenly, I realized Sophie was nowhere to be found. I was alone barbecuing on the deck. Sophie had disappeared. Meanwhile, Claire showed up in front of me, saying, Liam, suggest you don't embarrass yourself. I ignored Claire and kept gnawing on top-tier Wagyu. Marcus is from a well-off family, a good match for Sophie. He studied abroad and is now a renowned cellist. He's someone you can't compare to. Claire's voice carried a load of sarcasm. Marcus is back just for Sophie and plans to stay in the country for her. Liam, it's valuable to know your limits. What do you have to compare with Marcus? I looked up at Claire. Did you tip off Marcus to come back? I can't help but suspect Claire's actions are suspicious. Her face changed immediately, seemingly caught off guard. Furious, she said, Liam, is this the point? The point is, you're being a fool. Claire, you're quite the piece of work. In the middle of our argument, we heard urgent voices. Oh no, Sophie's $1 million watch fell into the sea. It was her most cherished memento from her grandpa. She never took it off. I rushed towards the commotion without hesitation. I saw Sophie's flushed face, like she'd just argued with someone. Her eyes were locked on the sea, radiating cold vibes. I jumped off the deck without thinking twice. Who jumped in? Are they crazy? This is the sea, and we're in the middle of it. Is it Liam? He'd risk his life for Sophie? I couldn't hear those on the boat anymore. I swam frantically in the water. I thought I saw the watch, slowly sinking. I gritted my teeth, swimming faster towards it. Pushing myself hard, I grabbed it. Excited, I swam up. As soon as I surfaced, ready to show Sophie my catch, a cramp hit my leg, maybe from no warm-up. I grew heavy and started sinking again. My voice didn't even make it out, swallowed by the sea. Shoot. This might really be it for me. I choked on seawater and finally woke up. The first thing I saw was Sophie's anxious, close-up face. Liam, are you suicidal? Sophie yelled, eyes red like a little rabbit but fierce as a lioness. Both scary and cute. I lifted my hand, holding Sophie's watch tightly. Got it back for you. Sophie was furious. You're a maniac! Isn't this your grandpa's watch? I was annoyed. I returned something precious, and you're cursing me, not thanking me? Idiot, Sophie scolded, but softened. You really like me that much? Truth is, I helped her out of sheer humanity. I'm a good swimmer. I hardly ever drown. I just got unlucky. Diving for her valuables was no big deal. But now that I'm so close to winning, I had to go for it. Nodding eagerly, I answered, "Yeah, like I'd give up my life for you." Sophie sighed reluctantly, saying, "All right, I'll give you a chance to be my boyfriend." What? I could hardly believe it. Neither could Claire, who went berserk. "Liam, you can't agree." Marcus looked hurt. "Sophie, are you really picking him?" Sophie helped me up from the deck, telling Marcus, "You shouldn't test my limits." "I didn't mean to." Marcus's eyes reddened, hurriedly trying to explain. I learned later that Sophie and Marcus had argued on the deck. Marcus accused Sophie of never putting him first, saying she didn't stop him from going abroad or warm up to him when he came back. In his frustration, he tossed Sophie's watch into the sea to provoke her, not expecting to cross her line. Marcus is a spoiled brat, arrogant and unrestrained who can't stand being ignored. But Sophie doesn't bow to anyone. She might like Marcus, but she loves herself more. She won't compromise for anyone. They're two people who are doomed never to be together. Did I just luck out? Sophie pulled me away, ignoring Marcus's explanations. "Liam." A few steps in, Claire stood in my way. "Don't go with her," Claire urged, desperate. Sophie tightened her grip on my hand, but she didn't say a word. It seemed like she wanted me to make my own decision. "Are you coming with me?" I asked her sarcastically. "Fine, come with me, and I'll agree to be your boyfriend," Claire said generously. I just laughed. "But I don't want that anymore," I uttered, clear and slow. "Liam!" Claire's veins bulged. "I've given you so many chances, don't be so ungrateful." "Shut up," I interrupted Claire. "The further away you go in your mind, the better." After saying that, I walked away with Sophie, leaving Claire behind. She tainted my beautiful love. Sophie and I took a speedboat back to shore. Then we got into Sophie's sports car. She drove me back to my neighborhood. I wasn't in a rush to get out. I still felt a bit unsure. "Sophie, you're not lying to me, right?" I asked. "You're not just doing this to upset Marcus, are you?" "So what about you?" Sophie shot back. "Are you doing this just to upset Claire? I swear to heaven, I don't love Claire anymore. If I'm lying, may lightning strike me down." Sophie smiled. Her smile was really beautiful. She nodded and said, "Yeah." "Me too," Sophie added. I felt a rush of excitement. But then Sophie's face turned stern. "Get out of the car." "Is that how you treat a boyfriend?" "Don't catch a cold. Go change your clothes," Sophie ordered. Her reminder made me realize I was still soaking wet. "Can I kiss you before I go?" I asked cautiously. Happiness was so sudden, I feared it wasn't real. "Nope," Sophie flat out refused me. "Stingy," I grumbled as I started to get out of the car. Then suddenly, I felt a tug on the back of my head. Sophie pulled me in for a kiss. When she pulled away, her face was beet red. "Shameless," she murmured. "From now on, I'll handle this kind of thing." "Okay," I grinned sweetly. "Aren't you leaving?" I quickly got out of the car. This time, Sophie didn't drive off immediately. She waited until I walked deep into the neighborhood before slowly leaving. "Handler, did I succeed?" I asked excitedly when I got home. "Does this mean I don't have to be eliminated?" 80% successful, the handler replied. "What does 80% mean?" "You need to be in a stable relationship for at least a year for a full success. Maybe she's just caught up in the moment." "You and your whole family are caught up in the moment." Of course, I don't blame the handler. It operates by the rules. So next, I just need to work on maintaining my relationship with Sophie. As I spent more time with Sophie, I found out that despite her cool demeanor and feminist views, she wasn't as hard to get along with as she seemed. In fact, she'd even show concern for me, though often with a sharp tongue. We've been dating for 2 months now, and our relationship is getting better. During this time, Claire called and texted me several times. I ignored her and eventually blocked her. Just as I was about to forget Claire's existence, I ran into her at my doorstep. Was it an illusion? She looked like she'd lost a lot of weight and didn't seem in good spirits. Looking at me, she said, "Liam, you're really playing for real, huh?" Claire still thought I was just messing around with her. "What do you think?" I raised an eyebrow. "Aren't you afraid of being eliminated?" Claire asked menacingly. "If I'm to die under a peony, I'd be a merry ghost," I responded triumphantly. "I'm giving you one last chance," Claire tempered her anger. "Leave Sophie now and I'll forgive you, and even agree to be with you." "Not interested. Not interested, not interested," I stated clearly and slowly. 100 times, 1,000 times, I'm not interested. Claire was furious. Her eyes reddened immediately. For a moment it seemed like Claire was truly hurt. But why does it matter to me? I brushed past her and coldly went home. "Liam," Claire threatened from behind, "if I can't have a good time, neither will you." I couldn't care less. I was eager to call Sophie. I slammed my door shut behind me. Claire was nothing in my world anymore. Little did I know, I underestimated Claire and her cunningness. That night, I went to Sophie's to help her make a special dinner. Once there, I sensed something different about her. She had always been cool, but today she felt distant. "Sophie?" I asked, surprised. Sophie lightly pressed her lips together. "Liam, are you a candidate?" she inquired. I felt a jolt in my heart. In that brief moment, I realized Claire had informed Sophie. Only she knew my identity from the program. I pondered how to explain. "I heard if the assignment doesn't succeed, you'll be eliminated," Sophie said, her eyes watering. "So, would you die?" As she spoke, her eyes turned red. She pressed her lips together, seemingly trying hard to keep her emotions in check. "Are you afraid I'll die?" I asked her. "Liam!" Sophie burst out. "Do you find this amusing? When things didn't work with Claire, you're using me as your toy to fulfill your last desires, and then you plan to leave me?" Though she spoke loudly, her voice was a bit choked. Were those tears? I quickly tried to comfort her. "I'm not that irresponsible." "Yes, I am a candidate," I confessed. Claire didn't lie. "I'll be eliminated if I don't succeed, and unfortunately, it's my last year to do so, or rather, my last 6 months." I watched as Sophie's eyes turned even redder. "But I've succeeded now. I won't be eliminated," I assured her. "You're lying," Sophie shot back. "You're not with Claire, so how did you succeed?" "Because I changed my assignment," I chuckled. "My new assignment has been you for a while now." Sophie paused. She looked at me, surprised and a bit unsure. Maybe she feared I was lying to her. "I had a chance to change my assignment," I said, "so I gave up on Claire. For real." "If I'm lying, may I be struck by lightning," I swore. Seeing how firm I was, Sophie's face softened a bit. "Actually, now I'm worried. Will you find me lacking?" "Why would I find you lacking?" "Because I only approached you to win you over. Would you think my love isn't genuine?" I said nervously. Claire really despised my status. "She's just insecure about herself," Sophie was spot on. "And I'm so perfect. There's no man who wouldn't love me." For the first time, I was glad the woman I loved was a narcissist. By the way, Claire said that after a candidate completes their mission, they have to leave this world? Sophie suddenly got serious. In principle, yes, but you can choose not to leave. Will you leave? Sophie asked me. I'm not leaving, I said with certainty. From the start, I never considered it. My original world wasn't friendly to me. Why go back just to suffer? I just want to live happily in this world, start over. Leaving such a perfect woman? That'd be a huge loss for me, I said, pretending to be serious. Sophie pulled me into her arms. Liam, if you dare to leave me and run, I'll... What will you do? I looked at Sophie up close. Would you cry for me? Honestly, when you thought I was about to be eliminated, were you about to cry? No. Your eyes were clearly red, I could tell. I wasn't. Just admit it. You were about to cry for me. Liam, are you trying to cry? Sophie asked, gritting her teeth. I won't cry. Oh, really? Sophie smirked evilly. My heart skipped a beat, looking at the dangerously amused Sophie. Can I take back what I just said? That night, Sophie, who hates evil as much as sin, made me cry, bullied me all night. The next day, exhausted, I went home. I saw Claire at the door. She probably came to see my downfall. Yet I was glowing. Sorry to disappoint you, Claire. I barely stood tall. My relationship with Sophie has only gotten better. Impossible! Claire didn't believe it, but she also seemed to realize I wasn't lying. Her expression turned anxious. Sophie wouldn't ignore your status. Even if she does, you're going to be eliminated. If she truly loves you, she'd want you back with me, Claire said quickly. I didn't want to hide the truth from Claire anymore. Better for her to give up sooner. I said, Claire, months ago I changed my assignment, meaning you weren't my goal for a while. Sophie is my focus now. No! Claire's face turned pale. That's impossible. She couldn't believe it's true. Assignments can't just change. No, I don't accept it. Claire couldn't face the facts and looked mentally distressed. I said coldly, changing assignments is tough. Thanks to you, I lost all hope. That's why I decided. But now I thank you for your cruelty, which led me to Sophie and completing my assignment without fear of being eliminated. Shut up! Just shut up! Claire practically screamed, her face twisted. Liam, you must be lying to me. You're just doing this to spite me. I don't believe it. Believe what you want. It doesn't matter. I dropped a line and turned to leave. I opened the door. Claire suddenly grabbed me from behind. You're lying, right? You're just mad at me, right? Claire said in panic, holding me tight, not letting go. I struggled hard and shouted, Claire, let go of me! I won't, never again. Enough. What are you even doing? You hate me, despise me. Shouldn't you be happy I'm not around? I said with great disgust. I was wrong. Claire suddenly broke down. Liam, I admit I was wrong. Can we start over? I admit, you won. I chuckled, laughing, speechless. Now Claire tells me I succeeded? Women, I swear. Only after losing something do they value it? Too late, I said calmly. Claire, ever since you left me humiliated in the alley, I lost all feelings for you. It was over then. No, it can't be. You loved me so much, you can't live without me. I can. You even disgust me now. I used all my strength to shake Claire off. Her eyes reddened, witnessing my coldness, rejection, disgust. She panicked, really panicked. The next moment she dropped to her knees in front of me. A woman who was always above me, now on her knees. Truly, I've seen it all. Her head hung low, tears streaming down, as if in utter grief. Liam, Please, forgive me. Just once? I never meant to hurt you. I just... Her voice choked up. Then she finally said loudly, Liam, I love you. A long time ago I fell for you. I just refused to accept it. That's why I treated you that way. I was wrong. Really wrong. Claire was a tearful, snotty mess. I never dreamed I'd see Claire like this. Even my handler couldn't resist whispering to me, I told you Claire liked you from the start. At this point, she only has herself to blame. Claire, I don't accept your apology, I said coldly. Not just because I have a new assignment, but mainly because she genuinely hurt me. She's not worth forgiving. Liam, there's a reason, Claire tried to explain. I cut her off right there. No matter how big the reason, hurt is hurt. Don't use love as a pretext to make me despise you even more. Liam, Rachel, just leave it. I don't want to talk anymore. Yet, just as I was about to walk away, Claire grabbed me again. She snapped, holding me tightly, muttering, over and over. I won't let go, Liam. I'll never let go. I love you, and you're mine. No one can take you away from me. Not in this lifetime. She began to act aggressively. No, I resisted, but she was too forceful. Suddenly, I remembered that night in the dark alley. A group of men had done the same to me. No matter how I pleaded or shouted for help, Claire just stood nearby, indifferent. They hadn't completed their intentions that night. Was Claire finally trying to make me hate her forever in her own twisted way? At my lowest moment, the weight pinning me down suddenly lifted, followed by a loud punching sound. I saw Sophie. She appeared like a superhero coming to my rescue. Sophie had knocked Claire to the ground. Claire was bleeding, unable to get up, looking utterly miserable. Sophie, stop! I held Sophie back. Not because I felt sorry for Claire. I just feared Sophie might kill someone in the heat of the moment. It wasn't worth it to risk everything for Claire. Sophie stopped and looked at me, pulling me into a hug, comforting me, saying, Liam, don't be scared. It's okay now. It's okay. I wasn't scared. She gave me a sense of safety, warming me instantly. It was Sophie who was trembling, scared that I might get hurt. Was fearless Sophie afraid of me getting hurt too? I hugged her back with all my strength. Liam, Claire, still on the ground, spoke up, her face bloodied. Sophie heard Claire and tried to go at her again. I held Sophie back from being impulsive. Claire said, Sophie, once they succeed, they always leave. Liam will leave you one day. He's just fooling you now. Even in this state, Claire was trying to ruin things between Sophie and me. Sophie almost lost her cool there. Let's call the cops, I urgently suggested. Sophie looked at me. I stood firm. She needs to face legal consequences. Liam, would you really do this to me? Claire cried out in disbelief. So she still couldn't believe I felt nothing for her anymore. Love needs time to prove itself. Not loving someone does, too. Without hesitation, I called the police. There were security cameras at my door. I handed the footage of Claire's assault to them. Claire was taken to the police station and eventually sentenced to 5 years for attempted sexual assault. Claire was in prison for a year when Sophie and I got married. Sophie threw a grand wedding for us. On our wedding day, Sophie bought all the ad spaces in the Capitol. Even the prison TV broadcasted our wedding. Before the whole nation, Sophie made a promise to me. May Liam find only happiness for the rest of his days. From then on, the most challenging princess became the ultimate devoted partner. Years later, we had a child. We were playing in the park one day, and I saw Claire. She'd been released a while ago, sitting in a wheelchair, her legs disabled, eyes vacant. When she saw me, her eyes went red, but she didn't dare approach, slowly wheeling herself away. The sunset stretched, her shadow, making Claire look lonely and forlorn. "Still looking?" I heard a disapproving voice from behind. I smiled, turned away, and fell into Sophie's embrace. Some people are destined to never be part of your life. But with some, they're your forever. Claire's epilogue. I hate the candidates. My dad was one. After he won over my mom, he left. I was 10. My mom went crazy because he vanished. She became manic, extreme, and a heavy drinker. She even started abusing me, taking out her obsession with my dad on me because I looked just like him. Every time she looked at me, her heart ached, and she felt miserable. I don't hate my mom. I just hate my dad. He cruelly abandoned me and my mom. Because of him, I hate all the candidates. So when Liam showed up, and I saw through his candidate act, I unleashed years of resentment for my dad on him. I couldn't let him succeed in seducing me. I needed to torment him. For those 4 years, no matter how well he treated me, I just mocked him mercilessly. I didn't expect to fall for Liam. I don't even know when it started. By the time I realized it, it seemed too late. But I couldn't accept this part of me. I blamed him for everything. I set up that trap in the alley to ruin him, to prove to myself that there was no way I had feelings for him. It was all an illusion. That night, I heard his heart-wrenching screams and felt nothing. I watched him fall into the dirt with a great sense of revenge. But when he actually fainted in front of me, my heart broke. I took him to the hospital. I stayed with him all night. I wanted to leave coldly so many times, but I stayed until he was almost awake. I couldn't let Liam know I cared or accept this part of myself. Liam stayed in the hospital for a few days, and I didn't visit him once. I even considered never seeing him again. But then, to my surprise, he started pursuing Sophie. When I saw him looking at Sophie, all starry-eyed, I lost it. In that moment, I realized I truly loved Liam. I couldn't bear him looking at any other woman, loving any other woman. I tried everything to stop him. I told myself Liam was doing it on purpose, for me to see. If he couldn't win me over, he'd be eliminated. There's no way he'd leave me. But things seemed to spiral out of control. It looked like Liam was seriously trying to win over Sophie, just like he did with me. I got scared. I feared Liam would really abandon me. I reached out to Marcus, who always had feelings for Sophie. Marcus wouldn't allow Sophie to be with another man. Just as I hoped, Marcus came rushing back. But I never expected Marcus's temper to blow up his relationship with Sophie, only pushing Liam and Sophie closer. I panicked. I told Sophie about Liam being a candidate, warning her off to avoid Liam's elimination. But Liam told me he changed his assignment to Sophie. In that moment, it felt like my world collapsed. I couldn't believe it, but Liam made me realize I was nothing to him anymore. I went insane. I clung to Liam, trying in a desperate way to keep him with me. I failed, and Sophie beat me up. Liam sent me to jail. It was only then that I realized Liam truly didn't love me anymore. He was really gone, even though I kept lying to myself. I even convinced myself that he would leave once the seduction was complete. We'd both lose him in the end. Sophie would end up like my mom, deranged. But I didn't see them split. Instead, I watched their grand wedding from prison. They were so happy, a happiness I could never reach. But I still believed one day Liam would leave. Until my 3rd year in prison, when my mom came to see me. She admitted that my dad left because she wronged him. She couldn't accept her fault and took it out on others, especially me. In that moment, my world and everything I believed in crumbled. I realized all I thought was right was wrong. I lost Liam. I lost the man I loved, and who loved me. I'm a walking shell now. 5 years later, I got out of prison. On the day I got out, I had an accident and became disabled. I don't know if it was a coincidence or karma. Someone like me deserves karma. Living alone with a disability, I saw Liam again at the park after years of avoiding him. He was with his family, laughing on the beach. I watched him for a long time before he noticed me. His indifferent gaze was like looking at a stranger. I turned away, hoping he'd call out to me, even out of pity. But he didn't. When I turned back once more, he had returned to Sophie's embrace, smiling brightly. Suddenly, Sophie's words came to mind. "Liam is often joyful." She made it happen. And now, Liam is gone from my life forever.